These guys got me. I'm down on my knees with the gun in my mouth, the first gun, tears coming down my face, and only thing I can say is Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Like I couldn't say it with my mouth, but in my head, that's what I was saying. And I think the biggest mistake these guys had made and the devil made is that God had already proven himself.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of TKOF, Totally Killing All Fear. My name is Taijun Waters, the creative founder and director of ABBA and Me. Make sure you check out abbaandme.com. We have our fashion there. In this episode, we're going to be talking to a man who has been silenced in his life, or at least there's been some attempts to try to silence him. We live in a world that is both physical and spiritual, and so whether this silencing is from actual people or from the spirits behind these people. One of the ways that we see Jesus redeeming his story is regardless of what the enemy has tried to do for his own purpose, God somehow turns around those horrible moments in ways that push him closer into purpose. Terrance.
I'm my mom's only child, right? And I have 76 first cousins on my mom's side. And so it wasn't strange to, gang bangers, drug dealers, and then there was me, right? And so the journey of trying, how do you develop into a man having been sexually violated? So your first sexual experience is that with a man who took advantage of you, right? Mm-hmm. And still try to develop culturally to the man that everybody says you have to be. And then secondly, spiritually to the man that God says you have to be, right? And so the story for me, I think that people kind of scratch their head with is like, man, how did you go through that, grow up here, live through this, and yet this is you today? The first story ever written about Terrance Waters was my sexual violation. But if you Google Terrance Waters right now, you see God's glory of him completely transforming my life, healing me to the point where now when you read, you see the evidence of what happened. Sorry, the transformational experience of what happened, and now God getting the glory out of that. Because I thought about suicide. I did. I thought about suicide. How could I end my life in the most painful way and be successful at it? You know? But God didn't let it be. My cousin, I'll never forget this story. I was 16 years old. My cousin who lived with us came home. He was 19. We were very close. It was like my only person I would consider my brother. He came home from work, he came, looked in my room, did the, oh, what's up? Went in his room, closed the door. I closed my door because I was on the phone, of course, with a young lady. And so I couldn't sort of disengage that to talk to him. But he went in his room, closed the door, and then later after I got off the phone, I wanted to play Nintendo, like we in a Nintendo. Right. So I'm gonna go to get my Nintendo. Let's go play the game. Knock on his door is locked. Look out the back, see if he's out playing basketball. He's not out there. Pop the door open with a hanger. Look in the room. He's there. He's breathing. But then I get closer. I see blood. He had taken a gun and shot himself through the mouth in the head. It was completely the most traumatizing experience. I thought the sexual violation was bad. Yeah. But seeing someone you love, that's like a brother who was successful at doing what you had thought about doing, devastating experience. And so I was angry. Like it's like I went to a whole nother level of angry. Now this is not decades apart. This is within the same, time frame as me being hurt in my opinion, by people that I trusted in the church, or my mom trusted in the church. And now this. But through the whole process, God was always present. Like it's like he kept me. I'm gonna try and do this in this conversation without getting emotional.
It's all right. You get emotional.
He kept me through the whole process. And I turned to God and I said, why did you allow me to find his body? Why? Like, why did I have to be the one? Like, there's other people who lived in this house. Why did I have to find his body? And the Lord said to me, I had to allow you to see what it felt like if you were to take your life, and that I had a greater purpose for your life. So I couldn't allow you to go down this path. Not to say he didn't have a purpose for my cousin's life, because my cousin had his greater purpose for me in that. And I know people say, well, you commit suicide, you're going to hell. Like, it's automatic. Like, that's what people would say. But I feel like my cousin served a purpose. He served the purpose, because if I didn't have that example, like, so much in my face, I wouldn't be here right now. Okay. So through his death, him being dead and me finding his body shifted my entire mindset around the purpose of my life and what God has for me. Right. He helped me launch in more and lean more into God, to figure out, why did I exist? Because I felt like I was going through so much as a young person that I did not understand, like, God, you can't be real. Like, no young person should ever go through these things. Yeah. I had friends who were getting gunned down. I had other friends who had committed suicide. So it was like this whole thing around Russian roulette. It's like they would spin the thing and then they try to, like, they had this fascination with guns and stuff like that. And so it's either they were getting killed because of the violence on the street. So I didn't actually think or believe that I would see 21. Like, I thought that I would not be alive long enough to see that. And then when I got to 21, I said, oh, I won't see 25. And so this is really crazy, because after traveling around the world and being in other communities, people don't think like that. It's like foreign to them to think, oh yeah, they think they're gonna live until they're old and have grandkids and so forth. Right. Well, when you grew up in the hood, that's a total different experience for you. And it's like you're wondering if I'm going to be alive, right, at that time. But when I found my cousin's body, it changed me. It changed me in so many ways. And I think that's when my relationship with God probably launched to an entire different level. Because I wanted to know God in a way that my pastor couldn't preach about, my mom couldn't tell me to pray about. I wanted to know him intimately on my own. And so I pursued that. So I would go in my room, close the door, put a sign on my door, please do not disturb me, I'm in prayer, for hours. Like, turn all the lights off, turn the radio off, I just wanted to hear from God myself. At that time, I played football and ran track. And so I became very insecure around my sexuality, because I thought that I had done something to deserve what had been done to me, right? Right. And so perhaps maybe there was something that was on me that perhaps this predator saw and that he took advantage of. And so I leaned into God. And as a result of that, I believe that God gave me a strong foundation early on, whereby that different men of God, true men of God, came into my life and began to help cultivate the gift within me. Mm-hmm. And so one of those people was Pastor John F. Hanna. What I should have turned away in the natural from the church, but I leaned further into the church and started working with young people.
On my best days, I'm a good friend, I'm a good lover, I'm a darn good creative, and I give some pretty good advice. But on my worst days, I need that advice. I need that encouragement. I need to look at my creations and have them remind me of something good inside of me. I need to be seen. I need forgiveness. Whether on my best or worst day,
stop looking at me.
I know one thing. I'm just a vessel. And in this life, I need all the created grace that God bestows upon those who follow and love Him for the days ahead and behind me.